Welcome back. You're still watching TVC Breakfast. Now back in Lagos, we're about to do trending now. One of the topics and one of the segments I look forward to on the show because we get to see what's happening all around the world. And in one way or the other, something is happening. Now the only lady that will give us all the accurate information is standing by. Good morning, Olamide.
Good morning, Ria, and good morning, team. Honestly, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Shomi. Your white is very white. I love it. Don't stain his white, Nelson.
I try not to.
Let's see what everyone's talking about this morning, shall we?
Please.
Take it away.
Good morning, Nigeria. Like I always say, TVC has a finger on the pulse and our eye on the streets. And here on the Trending Now segment, my team and I do our absolute best to bring you all the trending stories that are shaping the world that you and I live in. We begin today with this development where the former executive director of Choice International Group Motors, CIG Motors, Jubril Arogundade, has pushed back against claims surrounding his exit from the company, insisting that he wasn't fired like CIG had alleged. Now, CIG Motors had announced on Saturday that Orogundade's termination was linked to alleged financial misappropriation and abuse of authority, adding that the matter had been referred to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission following what CIG described as an internal review. However, responding in a statement shared on his Instagram page yesterday, Jubril Arogundade described those reports as inaccurate. He says that his departure was a voluntary resignation, which took effect on the 2nd of December 2025 and was done in line with his contract and the company's procedures. He also maintained that his resignation letter was duly submitted and acknowledged with an agreed notice period and even an exit timeline. Addressing the allegations, he's denied any wrongdoing on his part, and he's stressing that he has not been contacted by the EFCC or any other law enforcement agency. He says that he remains open to any lawful and independent investigation should one be initiated, as these conflicting accounts are continuing to fuel public interest in the matter. Now, we all know Jubril of Lagos, very, very solid guy, very avid businessman. And we saw Choice International Group, CIG Motors Group, grow under his watch. Mr. Shomi, it's very interesting when you see, a CEO of a company become a public figure. A philanthropist, a socialite, some might say, I don't know, that his lifestyle was rather lavish. But as long as the job is gotten done, should it really matter?
Well, it doesn't really matter as long as the job gets done. But it's also hinting at something which may eventually interest the tax authorities, the Nigerian Revenue Service. It's hinting at that. Whether it is true or not, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, it shows there's something fundamentally wrong somewhere around the company finances. Whether it's on the part of Arogundade or on the part of CIG, I think that's an issue for EFCC, to unravel.
So I have never met Jubril before, but I know of him. And if there's anything I'll say, not trying to support anybody, but he's a quite solid guy. We saw what he did for, this CIG Motors. I wouldn't have known about this car if not for Jubril. He did very well in making sure that people knew about the car, brought a lot of deals, brought a lot of partnerships. So now the problem I'm having with this company is that if this person had actually resigned, which he showed the evidence that he resigned in December, why do you come out and say you sacked him? Then now it seems like you want to tarnish his image. I was not there. I do not know what happened, but in the statement that he put out, you can see that the company will be having some tax issues. Now it's coming at a time where our president is not joking with tax. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and see how this pans out. But I'm happy that he came out and he brought out his statement. He showed where he put the resignation. And I feel like it's very malicious if somebody has resigned and you come out and say you sacked the person. Jubril, I wish you the very best.
Well, for me, it's not about whether he resigned or he was sacked. I think there's an underlying issue right here. And that's what they need to sit together and discuss, whether that will be done through legal means or, private settlement, I don't know. But I think that's the most important thing. So whether he resigned or was sacked...
No, but now so when you sack somebody, then you tarnish the image. It's different. Yes, me resigning and you sacking me is two different things. It's more procedure to say, oh, I left TVC. Right. I'd rather say TVC sacked
you,
yeah. So there are two...
I totally
agree with you on that. Also don't forget at corporate level, a director can be asked
To step aside.
To step aside,
And it wouldn't
resign,
do
you'll be
anything
given
to
a
you.
decent exit while investigation is either ongoing or concluded, and further actions will be determined. So we don't know who is right.
And that for me is the main issue. Let's not, for you, sir, let's not build a canopy around whether sack or left. The most important thing is the reasons behind the issue that is going on, and that's more important. Please focus on that and clear your name on that line.
Exactly.
Forget about whether you were sacked
or you left. It doesn't do anything to you. They should not tarnish his image as well. If he wasn't sacked, then he wasn't sacked.
I know that both CIG Motors and Jibril Arogundade, they had a very symbiotic relationship. It was mutually beneficial, and it's very sad to see it end this way, but we watch and wait for developments for both parties. Thank you so much for your input, team. But it seems we're still on some good news today, as the senior pastor of Harvesters International Church, Pastor Bolaji Idowu, has announced a new support plan for unemployed members serving within his church. Now, speaking to his congregation, Pastor Idowu revealed that his church will now provide 50,000 naira monthly, 50K, for 3 months to leaders and workers who have lost their jobs, thereby helping them stay afloat while searching for new employment. Now, this initiative targets individuals that are serving in various capacities within his church. And according to Pastor Idowu, the beneficiaries will only need to register within the church administration, stressing that lengthy interviews will not be required because their service record in the church already speaks for them. Now, of course, this announcement has sparked a lot of conversations online, and many are praising the move by Harvesters Church and Pastor Idowu as a practical response to economic hardship and a reminder that support can go and should go beyond the pulpit. Let's have a look at social media. I wouldn't mind the cheeky 50K right now, I'll tell you that. John Zacchaeus says, a well thought out idea. Hopefully the people that will be on this relief package will get job offers and opportunities, and it will not make some of them lazy. Well done, sir. Josh Ife says, this is the gospel in action. Seeing a pastor care not just about prayers, but about people's daily needs is refreshing. May God bless Pastor Bolaji Idowu for choosing compassion, dignity, and practical love. This is how the church should know Christ. And finally, Udoski says, this is not good. This will only encourage laziness, and a lot of people will not take jump hunting serious again. Although I applaud him for making such a generous decision, but frankly speaking, it is not entirely good. Very, very, very fascinating dialogue surrounding this. We have a pastor who's coming out to say that he's going to put, people within his church on salary, but it's very important to make a distinction here, not just people within his church that are unemployed, people that are also working for the church. So you're doing something great, we commend you, but ideally there should not be unpaid labor, even within the church, if you ask me. But what do I know? Mr. Shomi, please weigh in on this.
No, honestly speaking, if you really look at it, it's a very limited, restricted offer. It's conditional. It's not open to anybody. You must have served the church, or you are serving the church, and then you lost your job in the process. And that is when you get the 50,000. And it's only for a limited period, 3 months. So after 3 months, what then happens if you don't get a job? So for me, for those who are applauding, it's good. I mean, it's a little bit, even if you give a little, to those who are disadvantaged, I think it's a lot better than not giving at all. So I think it's bold initiative should be emulated.
I really agree with Mr. Shobi on this one, because after the 3 months, really, what next for the people? It's a good initiative that he thought about it, because oftentimes I always say that as a pastor, you need to be able to give back. It's not, just about saying that, oh, you love the people, you are praying for the people. Also, some people's problem is more than prayer. They need money. So I'm happy that, he's thinking about this. But then how are you able to sustain it? And people should also understand, because I was seeing comments on social media, you cannot just go to the church and ask for 50,000 naira. They will not give you. You have to be, part of the church, and you have to have served, in the church. But thank God, I used to go to Harvesters. I will start going there again. Maybe I might get my 50K.
Maria, you haven't lost your job. Neither are you a worker in Harvesters. The church has, over the years, for decades, been involved in social reforms and, give back to the society as costs like this, running into billions and billions of naira and so on and forth. So this is not really new. Pastor B, well done, sir. Well done, well done. We thank you for this. However, can I make a little plea? Maybe let's extend beyond 3 months.
Pastor B. Colleagues
Let's just extend it. Because I'm just wondering, this is 150,000 at the end of the day. Yes. Sir, you know how far now for
Nelson, you are saying they should extend it. I hope you're not trying to go to harvesters. This is why you're saying they should extend it.
Well, Pastor B knows me, and
let's just say
we're friends.
We'll have a couple of new
one family, as the case may be.
But I think it's a welcome perspective, especially when you consider people like Pastor Chris Okafor, who might be in panty any moment from now, if I do say so myself. Thank you so much for your input, team. Now, moving on. A video circulating online, speaking of pastors, has captured the moment a pastor instructed members of his congregation to pull down the church fence as a symbolic act of faith. Now, according to this pastor, the action was meant to represent the breaking of what he described as the wall of Jericho in the lives of worshippers, and signifying the removal of spiritual barriers hindering their progress and their blessings. Now, church members were seen complying with the instruction as the pastor explained that the exercise was purely symbolic and rooted in biblical teaching. And of course, this incident has since generated mixed reactions on social media, with opinions divided over the method used to convey the spiritual message. Very interesting, but I'm going to move straight on to my next story. Now, the EFCC, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, has clarified that the ongoing trial of former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello is strictly a matter for the courts and not the commission. The EFCC's response follows public criticism after Yahaya Bello reportedly declared interest in contesting the Kogi Central Senatorial seat in 2027. Now, the anti-graft agency is stressing that his political ambitions do not affect the case against him. Speaking through its Director of Public Affairs, Wilson Uwara-Jeren, the EFCC has explained that Bello's trial before Emeka Nwite at the Federal High Court in Abuja is still ongoing, with witnesses and documentary evidence currently being presented. The commission reiterated that under Nigeria's constitution, Bello is presumed innocent until proven guilty, and that only the court can determine his fate in the alleged 80.2 billion naira Kogi State Funds misappropriation case. According to the EFCC, it has no interest in party politics, and it remains focused solely on prosecuting the matter to its legal conclusion. Very controversial figure Yahaya Bello is. Let's have a look at what you had to say about this on social media. Of course, Nigerians were not happy, but the law is the law, and nobody dare above the law. Hama says, EFCC are now defending Yahaya Bello. Wonder shall never end. This same man, their chairman, was saying he'd rather resign than allow him not to be prosecuted to a logical conclusion. What happened? Daniel Rega says, if Yahaya Bello was so innocent, why then was he declared wanted at official EFCC? And why was the chairman of the EFCC talking big on resigning if the agency failed to prosecute the wanted man? This is the height of embarrassment. We'll see one more tweet. Winner says, we support accountability and transparency, but we also believe strongly in due process. The EFCC should ensure that investigations and any actions taken in respect to the rule of law, and let justice take its proper course without prejudice or undue pressure. Now, Atima, I thought it was important to make this distinction here on air, that the EFCC is not saying that Yahaya Bello is completely innocent. They are saying he's innocent until declared guilty. And I believe that that is what is stated in Nigerian law, Mr. Shomi. However, I think that the bone of contention here for many Nigerians is the fact that this is a man who is facing financial misappropriation, corruption, charges. It's still in the process, and yet he's running for another seat. What does that tell us about politics in Nigeria, and about sometimes the levity with which we take financial misappropriation?
Well, in any case, the EFCC is right on this matter. One, you are presumed under the law to be innocent until proven guilty. Right. Guilt can only be pronounced by a judge sitting in court, after looking at the case, giving you fair consideration. So the EFCC is right, and the law is also very clear that once you don't have a conviction, you can contest for election. So Yahaya Bello is within his right to seek to contest election. The difference is, when Yahaya Bello was the governor, they would not have been able to arraign him or try him in court, because the Supreme Court ruled that he could only be investigated but not tried as a sitting governor. But till now, he has not been proven guilty of any offense. And if he's found, culpable or guilty by any court, There is no way how he can be protected from being sentenced to prison. And secondly, he does not enjoy any immunity, even as a senator of the Federal Republic. If the case is still going on, he will still have to attend courts.
Indeed, indeed.
Mr.
I think the matter is between, public opinion and the legal justice system in the country. Whilst the wheel of justice grinds slowly, it will come to an end. Just that Nigerians are asking that it must be just, as the name implies. So that whoever is accused or charged for any reason can justly be acquitted or found culpable.
So, Mr. Shomi, why I think I do not agree with this, I maybe have a different opinion on this table, because if we're saying that, yes, we understand that if you are not found guilty, you're still innocent. But why don't we wait to finish this trial before he contests for anything? So imagine that he contests and then he wins. So, and then they find him guilty. What then happens? I think that, when it comes to our political system in Nigeria, we should always remember, I wouldn't say too much, but I'm just saying that let's remember that the international force are watching us. It's not just about what we do here. I feel like with the case that has been levied against him, the amount of millions, there were some things that were brought out. It's quite surprising that he wants to contest now. I don't know.
Nothing has been proven against him.
Nothing has been proven, but we've seen evidence. But nothing has been proven yet.
It is only a judge that can evaluate the evidence and then make a pronouncement.
Why don't we wait until we are done with this case before he can now contest?
It's within his own right to seek elective office if he has not been convicted.
Actually, because there's no law in the country that inhibits anybody who is standing trial from seeking any official in the country. There's none like that at the moment.
The voters will decide anyway at the end of the day.
After all, it is still the people of Kogi State who will still vote for him.
Absolutely.
Based on that, they can decide.
Tim, I have to say now, we know and we've established that the law is very, very clear on this. But I can't help from a moral and idealistic standpoint to ask, if a surgeon was deliberately killing people while he's waiting trial, will you allow him access to more surgeries, therefore to cause more death?
Well,
is my question.
But don't forget there are precedents in this country. There are people detained for fraud. And I can give you examples in Abia State, who later became that's the former chief of staff to Ojikalu. He from prison, he became the governor of the state. So we have so many examples of people arrested, being prosecuted, and eventually contesting election and then winning. You remember the Oshu case also. The deputy governors, the man that emerged as a senator later, came from the prison.
Mr. Shomi, this case is very, very dicey with Yahaya Bello, because I've read comments on social media, not very palatable, for people thinking that you're still having this kind of big case, this kind of money is lingering around you. Yes, you've not been proven guilty, but now running again for a position.
I absolutely, like you've mentioned, guys, we've not spoken about the Wall of Jericho. We're all talking about Yahaya Bello and the Wall of Jericho that was torn down. And that is the most popular story online, I have to say. These people are saying that on one hand, this man is saying, come and tear down your sorrows. Great. But I also suspect that he needed free laborers. And that is why he did what he did.
That's putting it quite mildly.
Let me tell you, some of these things, when God is watching, he's just amused. Like, what is going on? Like, what are these people? And they are coming in the name of God. They are coming that God has called them. What do you mean that people should do that? And it signifies, I feel like some pastors just sit down, think of something and then put it out. And because they have people that are very gullible around them, that they believe anything, no pastor can come and ask me to do that. What do you mean? Go and get laborers to break down your Jericho wall for you.
Ria, it is things like this that make people point accusing fingers to religion, and in this context now, Christianity. This is what I call religious rascality. You can't use this kind of function to typify a spiritual activity. What do you mean by falling away? We
should arrest them, actually.
No.
Don't forget, Karl Marx said religion is the opium of the masses. And that's what you've seen at play. I mean, this is not a clear case of using allegory and symbols, to preach religion. No, it's totally different. This is something else. And for me, we need to place close watch, on some of these pastors who claim...
Some of them are not called by God.
This is where CAN and PFN comes in as the regulatory body that oversees Christianity in the country, so that we can bring to book and account spiritual leaders in Christendom. We can't have such quacks bearing collars, standing on the pulpit and bringing a dent to the name. We need to put everybody on that check. And let's have a standardized or a standard of what it means to be a priest on the altar. You can't
It's
do
so
this
sad that
and still exist in the
some
space.
people
No.
will just wake up and they think that what is very lucrative for me, okay, let me be a pastor. I'll say God has called me. Let me gather people. People will pay offering. People will believe in me. I also want to talk about the people that are very gullible, because we cannot just keep talking about these pastors, but let's talk about the people that follow them. I was talking about it on my social media the other day. When Mr. Chris Okafor was speaking in his church and he knelt down and he was saying sorry, the congregation, they were clapping. I'm like, what are you clapping for? Like, people are very, very gullible when it comes to the word of God. Know your God, read your Bible. I feel like when you read your Bible and you understand God, when a pastor tells you to do something, you definitely know it's wrong. So we cannot just blame only the pastors. I also really blame the people that follow them.
The congregation. This is a clear example of spiritual exploitation.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
They could have gotten wounded. Anything could have happened to them while they were doing that.
Absolutely.
And maybe spiritual hypnotism, because you can't hypnotize me to sit down and watch or listen to that.
Team, while this is very, very funny, it does communicate to us the power of the pulpit, the influence that this man has over these people. Today it's breaking a wall. Tomorrow it's doing something more dastardly. We have to stop sensationalizing religion and know God for yourself. Thank you so much for your input, team. Running